Hey, friends. Welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast. I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas, and we're so glad you've joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in.
Jay and Katherine Wolf met in college, married, and moved to Los Angeles to pursue law school for Jay and the entertainment industry for Katherine. Their son, James, was born in 2007, and 6 months later, Katherine's life nearly ended with a catastrophic stroke. Miraculously, she survived and continues her recovery to this day, including having a miracle baby, John, in 2015. Since 2013, they have been telling their story to people with broken bodies, brains, and hearts around the world. Katherine has been proclaiming the truth that life can be good and hard at the very same time. Her speaking opportunities, books, and online community have evolved into the glorious and widespread work of the nonprofit Hope Heals. Through the sacred spaces they have created, which range from family camps to a coffee shop to local inner ability communities, they are inviting a generation of hurt yet hopeful people to do their creative best within the limitations of their lives. You all, we could not think of two people that we'd rather kick off this series with talking about capability than Jay and Katherine Wolf. There is so much good, so much hope all the way through this episode. We can't wait for you to listen.
Folks, a lot of emotions coming into this conversation. First, that we would be kicking off our new capable season and choosing to do that with two folks that we could not love, respect, or admire or enjoy more. And
Amen.
Yes. And the mixed emotions are that we don't get to be in the same room. Any chance to be with him is good. Being in the same room with him is the best. But in an attempt to try to capture a little bit of that, I have my Mend candle in the back behind me. So I have a scent that reminds me of you two dear folks. I don't think it's possible to get within close proximity to the two of us and not at some point in a conversation hear about the two of you because we love you so much. But in case there are two people listening right now who are not familiar with the two of you, would you just introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your story that is the very reason we wanted to have the first conversation with the two of you?
Sure.
What an intro. Well, this will be interesting because we just, going back and forth, sharing the mic. We're learning still.
We're learning.
I'm Jay Wolf.
I'm Katherine Wolf.
And where do we begin? We're just privileged as friends of these dear ones, and just have learned so much from y'all. We can't believe that we know you and can just depend on you to navigate through all this parenting stuff. But Katherine,
and all the things,
and all the other things,
all the other stuff.
Katherine and I married out of college, and she suffered a massive brainstem stroke about 6 months into our journey as parents, actually. So again, just out of the clear blue, had no comprehension that our life wouldn't be going a certain direction. I was finishing up law school. We were in California, just had a beautiful community and
had a baby,
new baby, all the things, and everything reversed in just a matter of minutes.
Yeah. After the stroke, which was caused by a birth defect I didn't know I had called an AVM, arterial venous malformation, then I would spend the first 2 years in hospitals and rehabs relearning to eat, to speak, to walk, to stand up again. And then after that, there was about 3 more year cycle of constant surgeries and therapies. So about 5 years to baseline recover. And then after that, kind of began to come up for air and started speaking and writing about how our life had been just turned totally upside down. And eventually have a ministry, family camp for people with disabilities that you all are coming to. And we have a coffee shop in Atlanta where we employ people with disabilities. So we have a ministry now on birth.
We had another baby too.
And we had another baby.
No way, you had another baby. But we, it's it's a story in so many ways that just reflects the gospel. It's like where there should be death, there's been new life, and it's been good in ways we couldn't imagine and hard in ways we never could have imagined. And so, again, it's the framework is just kind of like, this is a miracle and it's a second chance. What are we going to do with that second chance? And that's sort of the story we have given our kids, and are they're teaching us back in so many ways. But God has been such a resource to us as we've tried to navigate disability and parenting, ministry and parenting, parenting teenagers in general, just parenting Enneagram 4 male. Sissy gave me words for why you all have given us handles to feel like we had some stability in this parenting journey that, again, is such what a privilege, and it shouldn't be. John, even yesterday, who was our 10-year-old who was born after the stroke, was just like, you know what? I'm so lucky. Like I shouldn't even be here. And look at all these things in my life, I'm so grateful for. So even our kid, even our 10-year-old is like, this shouldn't be. And like, so what do I do with the reality that my life shouldn't be? And now what do I do from here?
Wow.
So, but thank you all for, just supporting so many of us along the journey.
Yeah.
Well, we are bananas about you two and your boys, and you two. I mean, I was just thinking as you were talking about how hope heals, and that you have lived that out so beautifully, and that you all have taught all of us about hope, about gratitude, about humility, and about capability in this way that is so profound and so beautiful. And so it really does, it just feels like such a privilege to get to talk with you all about this, because I think that one of the things that I think we love the most about being friends with y'all is we are saying so many of the same things. We get to be in this hopefully honoring to others work, shoulder to shoulder, and reminding people of who they are. And so it just is such a gift. And thinking about capable, and you two, who are truly some of the most capable people we know, we want to take you back for a minute. And so it could be little Katherine and little Jay. It could be adolescent. It could be grown up. But when did you first discover that sense of capability within yourself?
Such a good question. You know what immediately came to mind for me was when I was in 4th grade, my teacher would have hour-long discussions with the 4th graders and just let them share opinions about everything and anything, and not break eye contact and let you fumble through this little speech, but just gave us each opportunities to kind of hear our own voice say things. And I attribute that to deeply teaching my head and heart that I was capable of important, deep thoughts, even as a 10-year-old.
Wow.
And very much like listening to my inner life and just wrestling. And I just think Mrs. Campbell in 4th grade did really cool things.
Wow.
I think there was really a link to finding my voice in 4th grade. That's mine.
That's incredible. I think similar time frame. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason why a 10-year-old-ish age is, there's some things that happen there that really imprint deeply. But my family moved from DC to Montgomery, Alabama, which was a little bit of a culture shock, suffice to say. And we, I think I was just trying to, as the firstborn in my family too, I don't know, figure out where I fit. And I fit in being capable and productive and firstborn-esque to my teacher, my new school. And I think I remember coming in and there was a weekly kind of a report that was just part of the flow of the classroom. And I, for some reason, was going to go so above and beyond that I wasn't going to just do the report. I was going to make a full sort of like visual presentation. And I just kind of thought that's what I want to do. I don't really know why. I don't know what the motivations were. The teacher was so blown away, and unabashedly so, that she kind of moved me next to her desk, and I kind of probably wasn't the best move for the new kid to be sort of called out in this, big way, like, oh, you just, this is a revelation. So that wasn't probably great. And there was some fallout, I think, socially. But I think I was like, oh, like I have some gifts that I can pay attention, and I can, really creatively go above and beyond. And so that's interesting. But fourth grade.
That's so interesting.
Incredible.
I guess
Powerful.
I have a question about that question. Is capability in your mind, is that something that you see come out, or is it something that we learned about ourselves, or is it something that can be taught? I would love to know therapeutically. Yeah, I'm just so curious about how to instill capability into our own children.
Yes.
The point of this book, I think.
Yeah.
Catherine, it's such a great question. And,
Yeah.
and the way we both really think about it is, in many ways, I think the way we even talk about bravery with anxious kids, that you don't have to muster this up on your own. Like, God has placed that inside of you. It's just about accessing what he's given you. And I think about capability in that same way. Like, it's in there, but to your wisdom within how you ask that question, it is something we have to learn to utilize and practice with consistency. We talk about it no different than a sport you've never played. You're not going to be great at it on day one. And so I think even thinking on you asking that, would love to ask you both, just how do you think your definition of capable changed after suffering entered your story?
Yeah. I think thinking about capacity is just fascinating. Because if we are in touch with it, the Lord has given us capacity, just like you're saying, for all the things. His divine power gives us everything we need, and he will supply all of our needs. And greater is he in us than he who's in the world. And yet all of that can stay really in our heads and not be activated. So that push is something desperately needing to come out to cope.
Yes.
And I imagine it's kind of like bragging on ourselves or something, but it's nothing we did. I mean, our families, specifically our parents, but in both families, faith has been an important part of our lives. Scripture, the Lord. So we were tracking with the importance of recognizing that because of Jesus in our stories, we do have capacity for hard things. The suffering Savior is with us and in us. So I think that profoundly impacted our response to this, for sure.
I do think, like, when you are firstborns, we're both type A. I think that's just kind of, we're going to get it done, and we have high capacity and can do a lot of things. But that's very, of course, easy in a meritocracy and in our culture and society to think that means productivity. And then when there's faith elements, that also means somehow that is the blessed life. And I'm productive and capable, and that means, like, I'm favored by God and I'm blessed by God. Now, when all of that is taken down to zero with medical situation or age or injury or disability, that just reframes the whole story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is capacity just about output? Is it just about how productive we can be and checking off the to-do list? Or does it have something to do with how we will be invited to show up to all the aspects of our life and story, no matter how hard they are, no matter how unknown? And because we've been given everything we need in Christ. And to say that is nice. And it's a great slogan on a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
To have that activated when you're at the precipice of despair and truly at the end of your own productivity and abilities changes everything and redefines everything about our capacity and how capable we are. And it just reframes it. And I think getting to reframe that for our kids too earlier on is a gift, and it's a privilege for them to get to sort of have, I don't know, see behind the curtain a little bit on what true capability can mean.
I can't remember if I've ever talked to y'all about this. I may have, but I have this group of women that I curated that we call ourselves the SOS, Sisters of Suffering Club. And we get together, and each one of us has suffered very, very deeply, very profound sufferings. One husband had an affair and left. One has married 2 children. One has another child who became disabled after a round of cancer. I mean, it's very, very difficult, painful stuff. And yet, what we're doing is pointing out the fact that because of Jesus, there is capacity, and I'm going to help you activate it. It's like good talk therapy. You're into this. We literally just finished meeting 10 minutes ago. And my prayer at the end of the group, which is virtually the same every time, is, Lord, make us brave, give us courage, give us relief, but give us relief through our gratitude. Let us not miss this. And let us recognize that we do have the capacity for it.
The last image I think in terms of suffering is that true heart brokenness and the breaking open of your heart, and how in so many circumstances that can lead to a heart that, when it's sort of put back together, it becomes self-preserving, it becomes bitter, it becomes smaller because of the breaking. But I think, again, in the sort of upside down kingdom of God, when we talk about our capacity, a broken heart can be put back together, enlarged, and with greater capacity, greater compassion. And so I think that's what suffering can do. It doesn't always work out that way unless we have a vision for a bigger story and a strength outside of our own that will give us the capacity to have our broken heart be put back together and be bigger than it was before. So those are some thoughts on the redefining through suffering, I think, that can happen.
Yes. There are so many words. I feel like I already want to get out a journal and be writing about the things that you're talking about, what it's making me think. I mean, obviously the gratitude piece of it, and invitation and activation feels so important as we think about this. I love those words. I keep thinking about, and we talk about it in the book, where in Judges, Gideon is told to go in the strength that you have. And what it looks like for that to be there, but there's this invitation and a willingness, an open-handed willingness for the activation to happen, to come through. And so along those lines, kind of further what we're talking about, Katherine, you have written so beautifully about beauty and brokenness. And Jay, you talk about leadership through weakness. So we all talk about how your writing and speaking has sharpened your understanding of capability even.
Yeah. I think for me and for you, that writing and speaking has been super cathartic, first of all, and enabled an authenticity, but also it's allowed us to trace the lines of the story. That writing and speaking about it allows us to remember accurately how God has been faithful. And it's really hard to majorly feel anxiety about all the future things when you see so clearly all the ways he's shown up before. And in speaking it out, you are making it very recognizable to your own head and heart that there it is in black and white that God showed up.
Yes.
That Ebenezer quality to writing down the intangible. Obviously, memory and story, it's fascinating how we can lose what was so miraculous in the moment just over time. And so the opportunity and invitation to retell that story and remember, we've always been so struck by hearing that, like, the word remember maybe happens twice as much as the word trust in the Bible, 3 times as much as belief, or something like that. Like these, deep sort of charges and challenges, believe, trust. Well, what Jesus says most of the time is just remember, like you already know the story. of what I've done in your life and in the world and what you're invited into, but it's easy to forget. So remember, but that does involve not only remembering personally and in community, but then sharing that. I think it just hits different parts of the brain, and then it certainly helps you, I think, want to live a better story.
Yeah.
You know, feel like, wow, like seeing my life as a story, seeing the arc of it, the hope for redemptive, ending and threads throughout. Like it makes me want to keep writing that story the best I can. And that helps me have capacity to keep showing up to it, even if it really might take some twists and turns we didn't imagine. So I think it's profound. And again, is it the Joan Didion quote? Like we tell ourselves stories to live. Like, I mean, there's power to the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, to the stories we tell our children about themselves and about their family. And I think it's changed everything. And as challenging as the digital age is, mostly because it's a disembodied faux kind of connection. I mean, to be able to tell your story and go look back and scroll through your Instagram and see the pictures and to share that in ways with people, maybe who you never will meet in person, is profound, is most profoundly when it brings us to each other face to face. But I think Catherine's stroke was the year basically the iPhone came out, and the year Facebook allowed people that didn't have college addresses to be on it. So there was something about sharing our story that has always, since the beginning of when it really took this incredible turn, that has been enhanced by the ability to share it farther than we ever would have been able to, in history. And that sort of come back on our own sense of remembrance and our sense of opportunity to keep telling it really well.
Yeah.
And now we're going to take a little break to hear from one of our sponsors who makes this podcast possible.
Okay, Nashville tricked us. We had a warm stretch and thought spring is here, and then boom, 20 degrees this week.
We all went right back into soup mode.
Immediately, and thankfully, I had Brodo stocked. Brodo's bone broths are made from scratch. No concentrates, no preservatives, no shortcuts. Just the real deal. When it dropped to 20, I used the Hearth bone broth to make the most incredible soup. It tasted rich, savory, like it had been simmering on a stovetop all day.
You were very proud of that soup.
I was. I talked about it too much, but honestly, you could drink it straight. Each cup has about 10 grams of whole food protein, collagen-building amino acids, electrolytes, all under 50 calories with zero sugar or fat.
And this isn't hype. A 2025 study found that the amino acids in broth heal leaky guts and strengthen the immune system. Our grandparents were right.
Brodo was launched by award-winning chef Marco Canora, who started selling it out the side door of his Manhattan restaurant. Now they ship nationwide. 8
flavors, from classic chicken to spicy nana to ginger turmeric. I love the Hearth. It's deep and comforting and makes anything taste homemade.
Shop the best broth on the planet with Brodo. Head to brodo.com/RBG for 20% off your first subscription order and use code RBG for an additional $10 off.
Once again, that's brodo.com/RBG for 20% off your first subscription order and an additional $10 off if you use our promo code RBG. And now back to our show.
We love to bring this wisdom into the context of parenting, and I want to say to you both, I may have said this to you before, but I do think often about knowing your sons as adult men and what they will be like, and to watch how extraordinary they are as young men. And would love to ask you both, just how do you talk about strength and suffering with your boys, and what do the two of you hope they internalize about resilience, not just from what you talk about, but just from watching the two of you live in the world?
Where to begin? I'll say this. You can fill in with whatever.
Okay.
We've shared with our friends here just some hard things that we're walking through. And there's, certain seasons, just there's sort of layers of hard things. And
you're meaning like right before we press play here.
You're a therapist here.
Yes, totally. We got a little free therapy before we got started.
Love that. The other night, okay, and we're in the season as well of like just our family's going to change. We have a senior in high school who's, we're in the spring of his senior year, and So he's 18, and we have a 10-year-old, and they're best friends. And the family of four is just very close. I mean, and so we're sitting on our back porch. The weather's gorgeous, even though it's February. It's Friday night. There's no plans. Nobody's supposed to be anywhere. And we are holding a really hard week, and also sitting in a really beautiful moment that won't always be like this. And we had a beautiful song on. We had a little fire pit going. We're just sitting. I mean, it's just quiet. The wind, we have this sort of woods in the background, and the boys are sitting together, and we're kind of sitting together. And I just sort of became so overwhelmed with the beauty of the moment in the midst of the hardness of the personal situation that we're walking through, and then the universal situation in the world, just all of it. I don't know. I was so moved. And I just, my first thought is just like, okay, just kind of hold it together. I would love to cry more. I don't do that much. Just, I don't know.
I cry a lot.
Katherine cries enough for both of us, which is fine. But that moment, I just sort of like, I just released myself, and I sobbed out loud. And it was so poignant. It was so healing for me, but to do that in front of my boys. And so they go, "Dad, can we hug you?"
Oh, they like ran over.
And I said, "Yeah, you can. Like, I would love that. And it would mean a lot." And, John just said, "I don't think I've ever seen you cry." I was like, "I'm sorry." And then he's like, "Oh, does that mean to say?" I was like, "No, I mean, you're right. I don't know. I just felt really moved as I felt I'm really sad about a lot of things that are really hard in the world. And, but I'm so happy that we're here right now and that we're together in this. And, I'm so proud of, just kind of, it gave me a moment to say there are, all these things can be true at once, the hard, terribleness of the world and the beauty of it all at once. And so we get to feel that, and again, that expands our capacity to enter more into an unsafe world where there is so much to lose, but so much to receive at the very same time. And so John had his little blanket, and he covered me in it. It was super tender to think, that's not usually the role I play in the family. And yet for them to see like, oh, like Dad is still can be
a human,
a strong, I don't know, protector of our family, but also be real and have a broken heart and be moved by beauty and music and the moment. So anyway, that was a couple days ago. So it's just that embodies, I think that, but I mean, it would have been easy just to be like, I need to get it together and just like go do this separately. But I don't know, it felt right and safe and good. And I hope it made an impact on how they will feel permission to do the same and be the same.
Yes.
Yeah, it will.
That's what I was thinking. What an invitation for them.
Yes, me too. Here's what it means to be an adult man in this world, to be a husband and a father, and to carry all these things at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a weightiness. We say often like a lot of things that are really good in this life are holy burdens, because there is this weightiness to it, but there's a sacredness to it as well. And I think, that's like the yoke, of Christ. It's like, and there's this lightness to it because Christ has overcome, and I don't even know what that means. And sometimes, I wish I knew more.
Right. Yeah.
Of really that sense of overcoming, but it is this sort of this thread that anchors us beyond the storms of this world, while still acknowledging the destruction that is caused and the grief all around, that there is something that is hopeful, that we're being pulled towards all the time. And anyway, that's what we're still learning and trying to live out.
And I would like to add that I like to say to my boys that your wives should just thank me in advance, because your mom you're welcome. Your mom being was the best thing that's happened to you guys. It turned me a good husband one day.
Amen.
So you're welcome for helping me. And I'm not even kidding.
You keep saying that, Catherine Wolf.
I know.
I plan to, because it's true.
It's the truth.
Speaking more about those little guys, the little and the big guy. So what would you say they have taught you all about capability?
I think James was born 6 months before the stroke.
Right.
He was born in the last year of law school. So, and just suffice to say, that was not our plan. We were 25 and stupid and had no clear plan except, probably that we were going to, rule the world and have all of our dreams come true. But parenthood was kind of unexpected. It just wasn't in our thinking that we would do that. When I was on my path to being an attorney, and Catherine was doing some things in the entertainment industry, like acting, it's just like that wasn't the plan. And so I think we had to navigate having this new life and being kind of a stressful season with this new life. And I think he became our sidekick and our mascot. And for the community, we were the first one to have a kid at that time too. And so I think that was, the beginning of just sort of navigating, keeping a human alive when we feel like we barely knew how to keep ourselves alive as adults. And then it would all, change dramatically when Catherine had the stroke 6 months after that. So I think, and then, moving into the future, I think we've been through so much together as a family. And like I kind of jokingly referenced James, having this beautiful just sense of his story in the world and feeling that and being creative and kind of, this is all him noting of himself too, but sort of Enneagram 4-ness. And, it was a challenging journey through adolescence and puberty and all those things and just transitions and moving from California back to the South. And it was hard. I was like, we've been through some hard things. This feels harder. I don't know why.
I know, seriously.
And yet I think sticking with him, loving him through it, saying sorry when we messed up, depending on you guys for wisdom of how to do this well. And anyway, I think that's built our capability. We certainly do not feel like experts in anything. We've just seen too much to know. Then that's
that's not a thing.
That's not a thing. But I feel like that expanded our capability parenting wise to kind of navigate through a lot of different hard seasons with him. And then John maybe was a different capability too.
Oh gosh. I mean, John coming after Mama is disabled and can't drive a car and can't walk on her own, all the things. Obvious capacity issues. But what I think is really cool with both of the boys is that kind of doing the thing of parenting them has built our capacity to do the thing, which in turn shows them they can do the thing and builds their capacity. So I imagine, I heard a therapist say somewhere recently that, just cut all the parenting stuff. Just be a healthy human being, and that will deeply inform the way your children live. That's the best parenting you can do, is do the work yourself and keep doing the work. And then they do likewise. They see. And if they can't see it, they can't be it, they say. So you be it.
I think the other thing too that's been interesting, we have two kids who have a lot of different interests, but especially our oldest, James, loves, I think because he loves story, he loves theater, and he's a really great actor. And I think watching him just be fearless and putting himself out there, and he moved to a new school a couple of years ago, and he was just jumped right in and to kind of being one of the stars of their musical and play. And I'm just to watch your kids sort of live into their calling with a lot of courage and bravery has built our capacity to do the same. I mean, John is similar. He loves piano and music. And so he's, I remember we heard him play the song. I mean, maybe 3,000 times legitimately. And he was like pretty like laissez-faire about it. And he was like, I'm going to play this, at camp at the talent show in front of everybody. And so we kind of, we were like, I don't think they don't have a keyboard, just let's not worry about it. We don't also, we're the head of it. We don't want it to look like our kid is like taking the mic. So just let's not do it. And then he came back an hour later and he said, hey, like I found a keyboard in the closet and like, I want to do like, I'm going to go, I have something to offer and I'm going to go figure it out. And I was like, well, okay, let's do it. So we had them hook it up, and he blessed the community with his gift as like a 9-year-old in front of like 500 people, just like, did the
blew
thing.
everybody away.
And so,
like, what?
No, I was just like, gosh, I can't imagine doing that. I couldn't imagine doing that at that age. And what a gift now to be able to say, maybe there's stuff at, 43 that my 10-year-old's given me courage to think about doing in the world. So
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that story. And that's a beautiful transition into another question we'd love to ask you. So how would the two of you say that your story has shaped how you build confidence into your boys? Are there certain rhythms or practices or conversations that you would say you intentionally come back to?
I'll say one that came to mind. We've done a lot of work with our organization Hope Heals over the past like 3 years about purpose, mission, vision, values, all those things. And it's become kind of, again, just, gosh, you repeat it on and on and on and on to the team. That's just kind of how you get this corporate sense and communal sense of why we're doing what we're doing, where we're going, what is the why behind it. And so I think that has been really cool to translate to our family too. It's like, look, there's got to be parts of life and parts of even doing stuff as a family around our house that are going to lack the excitement and engagement of, whatever movie, video game, story, fun, fancy free thing. But if we understand the why behind why we're doing it and why it's necessary, then that helps in life, and like, so we'll do it in these smaller ways around the house, but like kind of engrafting those, like, what do we value? Like, what's the purpose of this? What's our motivation? I mean, are we doing this just to check the box or because we have to, or feel pressure, or is there actually a bigger purpose? And certainly, spring senior year, we've been having that conversation a whole lot. It's just like, I already know I'm going to like, why are you doing this? What do I have to do? And it's like, what if this is about? Yeah, what if this is about learning to show up and end seasons really well? Learning to be present, even when you think there's nothing else to do or learn. So kind of getting to re-narrate, opportunities in the stage of 18-year-old and 10-year-old that I hope will translate to their future re-narration of, gosh, if they're at a job that they don't want to do the slog through the thing, but guess what? This is part of a beautiful whole that I've got to show up to. And it's also because, I value, like, one of our values at Hope Heals, beauty and excellence that dignify. It's not just to be excellent and perfect. It's because there's dignity there in the people that we are ministering to, and there's dignity for ourselves to do really good work, do it the best of our ability. And so, kind of getting to that why and kind of what do we value? Why are we doing this has been a helpful practice.
Well, I have quoted Johnny Erickson Tada a ton at my house that you may have to help me get through the door, but I do have a seat at the table. Or I said, you have a seat at the table. You're just going to help me get through the door to get to the table. And I've said that a lot to the boys because I wanted to instill them. You do have a place at the table. You have stuff to offer, but you have to show up and figure it out how to show up. And I think it's helping craft a worldview that I think is what y'all are helping kids navigate so much. Is you do have a seat at the table. You belong here. You're needed, and we need you to show up. And I think it's been really important in confidence building for them. Is I have stuff to offer to the world.
Yeah, yes. I have a seat, but I also can help others find the seeds. I think.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Hope Heals, y'all have impacted so many families walking through suffering of various forms. And we'd love to hear, because there's some amazing families that y'all are walking alongside. And what patterns have you noticed in families who raise resilient, grounded kids, even in the midst of hard circumstances?
Oh gosh, so many thoughts on this. One trend we noticed very early on with Hope Hills Camp that has continued is the amount of families that adopt children into families where there already is disability. So a family that has a child with spina bifida will adopt out of the foster system. And you're going, this is a whole lot. But I have a theory that they already know life is hard. And so they're very willing to jump into more hard. And they know it's really building the children a different level of resilience, of a deeper character. And they're not as scared of the world, because it's like the worst has already happened and they're doing fine. And it's really cool.
Yeah, I think what that demonstrates too is like, according, of course, age appropriate and situationally appropriate. But most of these families, it's like, look, this is our life. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
There's no hiding it. The struggle, the hardship, the pain. And I think the parents are demonstrating like, we're going to lead, and you're safe here, but we need you to participate, and we want you to, and you have gifts that you can offer this family, and we're not going to just pretend there's no struggle, even if you're, not that old, because we know, and now we're inviting you to come in again, appropriately, given whatever specifics are going on. But it's been so powerful to meet these family systems. So Hope Heals is a little different. It's not just kids with disability at a camp. It's a family camp. So adults with disabilities, spouses, children, every version of it. We had 170 primary diagnoses last summer alone. So it's all over the place, ages 0 to over 80. So, intergenerational, interability. And what you get to see in that context then is just all the different versions of people showing up to a story they never imagined they'd be.
Yes.
And families inviting each other and saying, I need you. This isn't something I'm forcing on you, but we need you to make this story work with our family. And you have things to offer this family that we invite into this moment. And, there's challenges with that. There's pain with that. There's loss of innocence. It's like, you don't get to just be a kid when your mom can't walk or drive or has, incredible situation in health and unknowns and all that. Like, that is a loss, and there's grief there. But literally, kids who had parents with chronic illness or disability or had siblings almost across the board grow up to be some of the most
it's amazing,
lovely, compassionate, special people that we know.
Oh yeah.
And so again, what looks like, gosh, what a curse, what a sadness, I think in the long term so often can be this incredible gift of compassion. Again, I think it goes back to that enlarging of their hearts, and they're not afraid to enter it to other people's suffering too. So I've just seen so many families do that. And again, their capacity is also enlarged because they've got these kids who are now like really participating and helping,
capable,
and a lot of us that are capable to do really hard things. The other thing that comes to mind that is Mend, which is our coffee shop that y'all have seen and
that we love.
It's been such a gift to us. Again, harder than we thought and better than we thought. Just our motto is interability staff. So 50-50 typical staff, and then 50% are folks with disabilities of all kinds. So we have, some folks who are quadriplegic. We have some folks who are, high functioning autism, some folks in between. The whole spectrum, and what we have said to that team, and it's sort of similar, I think what we can all say to our kids, what our camp families say is like, we're not going to actually lower the standard of what we're doing. Again, because we know the why of what we value and what we're doing and what's at stake. Like if we make a mistake, our loved one, it could have a big ramification. So we have this standard that we're not going to lower, But what we're going to do is raise the support. So that looks like a community, that looks like outside help, that looks like, clear communications. But that's what we say with our men team. Like, we're trying to do something that's really, in so many ways, hard, but it is transcendent, and it's so good. And here's why we're doing it. So we're not going to lower the standard that we're trying to accomplish here, but we are going to support you along the way. And we're going to maybe go above and beyond with our support as we do this together. And then you're going to be so capable, you'll do the same. You're going to uphold this culture and standard and vision, and be the supporters for those who are ahead. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've seen in our community so much. And it's powerful.
Also, I think so many times, I think like a mom in my situation, a parent, is so petrified of how our limitations are affecting our children. And really, there's just so much like fear and shame of what is this doing to my kids? And as far as their capacity, are we like crushing them under the weight of our stuff? And I've reached a place, many years in, of recognizing that I can see my suffering as a curse on my kids, or I can see it as an inheritance, a breathtaking value for them. That actually, and I say that a lot at camp to the parents, that it's an inheritance that we're giving our kids. And it's really actually very special that they are actually developing a different capacity because of having us in their lives. And I think that's totally true.
Mm-hmm. Yes, me too. That's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Okay, thinking on that very idea, Katherine and Jay both, just for parents who are listening right now who are walking through something they would have never chosen, medical, relational, emotional, is there anything else you would say to them about raising capable kids in the middle of it?
First off, to just give yourself all the grace in the world. I mean, I think parenting is hard enough as it is. And then you layer in just struggles and pain and suffering and unknowns and your own grief. I mean, you got to give yourself grace to keep showing up as best you can. And as we said earlier, to make sure you're showing up as a whole and healing and hopeful human as best you can. And that's going to be the best thing we give the kids. But I think this vision eventually, when appropriate, not right out of the gate maybe, but this vision of like James 1, I think, is like, man, it just
let perseverance run its course.
Yeah, it flips it on its head. There's something about the reality of suffering in the world that we try to shelter. Andy Crouch talks about the bubble wrap of affluence, and just we can kind of do everything we can to sort of insulate ourselves and our kids from the reality of the world, but eventually it will come and it will be known.
But side note, I spoke at the Wealth Manager Conference recently, and I said, I think I'm your worst nightmare, because no amount of affluence could have protected me from this. No amount.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, that's kind of
That's your opener? Yikes.
Cricket.
But there's more, and there's hope, and even if the worst happens. And I think the rest of that passage says, like, consider joy, because there is something this is not the end of this story, and it is creating something. Who knows the wild and hard journey that it will be to go through that, but it is taking us towards a sort of wholeness that can't be gained any other way. It's taking us to a persevering maturity that that's what we want for our kids is their wholeness, is their maturation, not their sort of isolation and non-reality about the world and their place in it. And so again, that's all tender. It just depends on the timing and how the Lord is moving our hearts to invite our kids into that. But it gives us such hope to know we can't prevent suffering from entering into our kids' stories. I mean, really, that's what broke my heart and made me sob the other night. I'm just like, these kids, it's just so tender, and they're on the verge of of knowing even more the full hard reality that is the world ahead. And who knows what hard things they will face. And yet I know because of Jesus and their story, they're on a journey to maturing in him.
Yeah.
And they're on a journey to wholeness in him. And they're not going to do it alone. They're going to have each other. They're going to have us. They're going to have a community of wounded healers, like Henry Nouwen says.
Yeah.
And that, gosh, what a hopeful vision of their future, even if suffering is in that story.
And the beauty of that passage, specifically James 1:4, that let perseverance run its course, that you may be mature and complete. And we all as parents want our children to be mature, but we don't want them to have to persevere through anything to get maturity. And maybe we're giving them a chance to be a little more mature.
It's the only way.
Okay, we're so sad to be getting to the end of this conversation because as we know, we could sit with you all and talk for so long around tacos, around a seafood tower, coffee, men's coffee, any of the things.
Favorite smorgasbord.
Oh, yeah. We're going back to the Broadmoor.
Oh, my God.
If y'all could leave parents with one practice they could start this week to cultivate capability in their family, what would it be?
Well, I'll let you. Two things come to mind that we have helped with especially our oldest. We're about to launch. In so many ways, it's like, look, there's nothing else that we can really. We've got a couple months here, and we're gonna kind of sort of solidify. But all the things that have been taught have kind of been taught in this season now. And so. But when for instance we invite Jimmy into participating in the house. I'm like, buddy, when you do such a good job cleaning up the kitchen, but you leave 3 things on the counter, that, it kind of takes the vibe down of your hard work. So kind of, again, not lowering that standard. Hey, like, this isn't to be perfectionistic, but you're going to go to a job in the future or have a family. And like, if we're going to do it, let's do it fully. Let's do it right. So kind of that idea, they could, parents sort of inviting like, hey, here's why this matters to you and your life. And I think you're worthy of doing the best work that you can and seeing it to completion. Right. And kind of supporting that journey and then sort of asking him as well. I mean, we had this conversation a lot around, screen time and just, content. And, the things that were getting in his head and heart. And I said, look, we, in certain seasons have had all the, parameters around that, right? And have all the blockages of the bad content and all that. And then eventually we tapered that off because we said, look, eventually we're not going to be, micromanaging all of this. You are going to have to decide what kind of man you want to be in the world. And we believe you're a man of incredible goodness and your future is going to be so beautiful because of the choices you're making and because of the story God's writing for you. But you get to take ownership of that. Yeah. We're handing you the reins of your life and what kind of a life is it that you want.
Right.
So sort of, I don't know, just posing that question has sort of really reframed for him like, oh, this isn't just sort of my parents forcing this on me, but I have agency and I'm writing this story now too. And what kind of story is it going to be?
I don't know that this is necessarily capability rhythm, but it should be. It should be an everything rhythm. We are having our kids constantly call out what they're grateful for. And very simple, very easy. I keep it on my phone in a notes app so we can look back to August 16th, 2022. John was grateful for this. And I just say, it doesn't matter what it is, big or small, could have already happened or is anticipatory gratitude. Just what are you grateful for today? Give me something. And just constantly the 4 of us speaking gratitude. I think it's really impacted all the things, definitely the capacity.
And then we scroll back and we read, hey, remember last November? This is what we were, we were moved by it with gratitude in our story. Again, just tracing back God's faithfulness, tracing back the story of receiving that faithfulness in our family.
You too.
It's so good to be with y'all. And I don't know 2 human beings who speak with more poignancy and are so fun and funny at the same time. All the things coming together. You two just
please.
are a
Y'all, I
delight.
think y'all would be
Yeah,
y'all would
y'all
be
are
very
similar.
No.
description. We feel like kindred spirits in friendship and in what God's doing in and through
Yes.
people's pain and in their longing for hope in the midst. And couldn't be more grateful to know you and learn from you.
Oh, absolutely.
Us is a great privilege for us. Well,
Amen.
will y'all say really quickly before we wind up where folks can find all the things, all the amazing things you're doing, Mend, Hope Heals, Camp, all of it?
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Hope Heals is the name of our ministry, the name of the website, hopeheals.com. So there's links to all the things there. Hope Heals Camp will be this summer. It'll be our biggest Hope Heals camp ever. There'll be about 3,000 participants, and it's a sacred space that's changed. Our lives have been so informed by friends like y'all, and just what happens when we gather around not our productivity, but the capacity that God has created. These individuals all coming together with our broken hearts and seeing what God does to enlarge them. And that's where the world begins to heal a little bit more.
Right.
So would love any folks who are interested in more of that to know more about camp, whether you're a family with disability, but then we have folks who are the volunteers. Although about 20% of those volunteers have disabilities too. So the lines are really blurry. We've got folks who
awesome.
who are on grief journeys that have come.
Many
folks who come kind of, as an alternative, like family reunion or girls trip, and do this kind of camp experience together. So it's been really beautiful just to see who God brings in. But we're always sort of excited to invite new folks into this community. And then Mend is sort of the brick and mortar, coffee cafe kind of manifestation of the heart of camp in Atlanta. So come visit us anytime there.
If you are in Atlanta, if you are near Atlanta, if you are traveling through Atlanta, we can testify. I mean, it's an exquisite experience. The space, the food, the people, the products. It's a beautiful experience. So, friends, it's so rich and good to be with you. We love you both.
And congratulations on this book coming into the world. So excited for y'all.
Thank you. Y'all are the
so
best. David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible. Chris Starrett, our engineer.
Our management team at KCH.
And we are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.